At the time of writing and recording this video, I've just experienced something that took me completely off guard and that I think is worth sharing. It's in the context of my natural bodybuilding competition prep, but it's relevant in the overall context of making muscle growth and fat loss progress in general too. It literally just happened, so I figured I'd share it with you while it's still fresh. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure how helpful it will be, but I do think it's noteworthy enough that it's at the very least interesting and worth sharing. So in this video, while showing you footage from my latest full body gym workout, which is the same workout that I'm going to be referring to, I'm going to share with you the observation that I made from the experience that I just had. Perhaps it is something that you find to be genuinely helpful, or at the very least, it's something that you find interesting like I do. Before we get started, if you find yourself enjoying this video or you do find it helpful, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out. Okay, let's dive in. To give you some context, I'm about 8 months into prepping for my upcoming natural bodybuilding competition season. For those who aren't familiar with what prep for a competition of that nature is or means, in short, it's the process in which an athlete loses body fat to get as lean as possible for the stage, whilst aiming to retain as much muscle as possible in the process. In competition, athletes are judged on their physique symmetry, conditioning, and muscularity. So the idea of the prep is to get as lean as possible to highlight each of those main points of judging criteria. Fat loss occurs through being in a prolonged caloric deficit, the same as is needed for any person on a fat loss phase outside of a competition prep. The main difference is that the fat loss process is taken to the extreme, where the goal is, in essence, to lose as much body fat as is feasibly possible. There ought to be some strategy behind that process and some dieting periodization, like by including refeeds, diet breaks, and or maintenance blocks to avoid making the process more invasive than it needs to be. Simply put, the more invasive the process is, the more likely you are to burn out, lose muscle, and ultimately not attain the best stage physique you otherwise could attain from being more strategic. Throughout the long, ongoing process of being in a caloric deficit, an athlete in prep ought to train hard too. Like the dieting being approached strategically, the training should be approached similarly to strike the right balance between getting a great stimulus to retain all of the hard-earned muscle built across the improvement season, or the time between competition seasons, but not past the point of causing more damage than can be efficiently recovered from. Training in prep is hard. Any natural bodybuilding competitor will tell you that. And truthfully, it only gets harder the deeper into prep you get, as your body fat percentage gets lower and lower. At the point I'm at in my prep right now, my training overall, without trying to over-exaggerate or sensationalize the experience, is pretty darn tough, both from a physical, mental, and even an emotional standpoint. And over the past, month or so, there have been some very tough training sessions in the sea of just regular, ongoing tough sessions. And it's all kind of been just getting linearly, progressively more difficult over time. Honestly, at the point I'm at right now, with where I'm at in my diet, the level of leanness as far as my body fat percentage goes, as I continue to aim to reach greater levels of leanness, the difficulty of training is to 100% be expected. It's part of the process. It's hard, and there's no way to completely avoid it. Outside of planned refeeds, diet breaks, and maintenance blocks, that is, but now's not the time for those, save for my single, regular, weekly refeed to recharge my batteries just enough to keep pushing along week by week. At the time of writing this script, it's a Friday. And usually by the time it's Friday, I'm feeling pretty physically and mentally fatigued from being far away from my last refeed day, which is Sunday. Needless to say, my Friday and Saturday workouts are the toughest of the week. They've even been feeling like a bit of a chore over the past several weeks. And that's coming from someone who absolutely loves lifting weights. I want to mention that this isn't a complaint, just an honest report of what I've been experiencing in my prep, knowing and accepting that it's part of the process. Okay, so I know I'm being kind of long-winded here, but now that I've given you some context, I can finally let you know what I experienced and observed today. Well, I had my best workout in probably months. Today, on a Friday, when I'm usually completely zonked. My energy levels were high. I felt positive from a mental and emotional standpoint, and my body didn't feel as bogged down as usual. Shoot, I even hit some prep PRs, which doesn't happen terribly often at this point. It honestly felt like I wasn't even in a prep. And the kicker is, this isn't because of any extra calories, any extra rest and relaxation time off work, a vacation, or anything like that. It pretty much just came out of nowhere. It's weird. I know that this might seem like not that big of a deal for many of you listening, but for me, in the midst of it, in the midst of a sea of tough workouts and accumulating diet fatigue from being at this point of prep, I just think that it's really quite noteworthy. So here are the questions really worth asking, in my opinion. Why the heck was today so different than a normal Friday? Is there any way to replicate the feeling of this great workout to make every workout feel better? Well, I think I do actually have some answers, and that's what I really want to share with all of you. I mentioned that this great workout didn't come as a result of coming off of eating any extra calories, like by including an extra refeed day, or by doing anything extra special for recovery, or from being on a vacation or anything like that. But something did happen that I can almost guarantee is the cause, and I'll explain it. Without getting into the weeds of things too much, I've had this nagging stressor bugging me for the past several months. It's not really a huge deal, but something that's just been taking up mental space for longer than I'd preferred it had. This morning, I woke up and felt my usual Friday mental and physical grogginess, and the day was looking like a regular tough Friday, getting deep into prep. But partway through the morning, something happened. See, that nagging stressor that I mentioned, well, it resolved for me. And like that, even though it was not a huge deal, it felt like a massive weight was lifted off of my shoulders. It actually took me aback as I felt the mental stress come off of my body, just how much of a freeing sensation it was. And that was it. A massive hit of stress relief smoked me out of left field. And that's what I attribute to having such an uncharacteristically fantastic workout at the end of the week. This is super interesting and noteworthy to me for one main reason. It illuminated for me just how much of an impact my mental and emotional state can have on my body, or how my body feels. There was no change whatsoever to my prep protocol, like my calories, work schedule, recovery, or any part of my routine. The only thing that changed was something that affected me mentally and emotionally. And it had a profound, even surprising positive impact on my workout. I think that this is an interesting piece of anecdote or even a case study to show how much potential the mind has to impact the body. The resolution of my life stressor put me in a significantly more positive frame of mind, and that, in turn, massively impacted how my body felt and performed. So, can this be replicated for every one of my Friday and Saturday workouts? Or shoot, every single last one of my workouts? Can I feel amazing for the entire remainder of my prep? Well, my guess is probably not. As humans, we do have finite stores of mental and physical energy, so I'm guessing not every workout will feel the same as it did today. That said, it did show me just how much of an impact being in a positive frame of mind can have on the body. And I suspect that if I aim to do that more intentionally moving forward, I might be able to improve the quality of my upcoming workouts overall, even as my prep continues to become more challenging. The mind is a pretty darn powerful thing, that's for sure. And that's it. That's the observation I made from the experience that I had today. The stress relief that I experienced had what felt like a massive positive impact on my body. It left me feeling more energetic, lighter, and stronger. I think it's worth sharing the impact that the mental and emotional stress relief had on my body, as it kind of showcases the power that the mind has. And perhaps it means that it's really worth going out of our way to find ways of setting ourselves in a more positive frame of mind to not only increase the probability we'll have great workouts, whether that be in the context of accomplishing general muscle growth and fat loss goals, or in the context of a natural bodybuilding competition prep like what I'm in right now, but also to just improve your overall quality of life in general. Perhaps this could be done by regularly and intentionally finding and recognizing things to be grateful for. Or, in my context, finding solutions to ongoing nagging stressors. At this point, I'd love to know your feedback. Have you experienced anything like this before? Let me know in the comments. Before this video comes to a close, I want to quickly let you know about the work that I do. When I'm not making YouTube videos or Instagram content, I work full-time as an online physique coach, where I help my clients to accomplish their muscle growth and fat loss goals by optimizing their approach to strength training and nutrition, and I coach them through the process. I've been doing this work for over 7 years and love helping my clients to not only transform their bodies, but ultimately their lives. If you've been considering getting some help with accomplishing your own physique goals, feel free to hit the link in the description below, where you can learn a little bit more about the work that I do and how I can help you. You can even use that link to schedule a free video consultation with me. If you have any questions about my coaching or how I can help you, just email me at sam@jadeathletics.ca. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.